master your speech, master your life.
What if I told you that you could completely transform your life by making changes so tiny you'd barely even notice them? Well, that's the powerful idea behind James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how it works. So let's start with a story. How does a team of athletes, a team known for a century of, well, being pretty average, suddenly become one of the best in the world? The answer isn't some huge dramatic change. Nope, it's something way smaller, way more subtle, and, as it turns out, way more powerful. For more than 100 years, British cycling was basically a running joke. Their performance was so consistently bad that one top bike company actually refused to sell them bikes because they were worried it would hurt their brand. I mean, you can't really get much lower than that. But then, in 2003, everything changed. A new performance director came in with this pretty wild philosophy he called the aggregation of marginal gains. The goal? Find a tiny 1% improvement in absolutely everything. And I mean everything. Sure, they did the obvious stuff, like redesigning bike seats, but they also did things nobody would even think of, like hiring a surgeon to teach the athletes how to wash their hands properly to cut down on getting sick. They even painted the inside of their truck white, just so they could spot tiny bits of dust that might mess with the bikes. And the results? They were absolutely insane. Over the next 10 years, this team that was once a total punchline went on to dominate the sport, winning 66 Olympic and Paralympic gold medals and 5 Tour de France titles. This wasn't a fluke. This was the direct result of a system built on tiny compounding improvements. So what's the secret sauce here? What's behind this incredible turnaround? Well, it all comes down to a really simple, fundamental idea: the surprising power of just getting 1% better. And this is where the math gets kind of mind-blowing. If you get just 1% better every single day for a year, you might think, okay, that's 365% better. But you'd be wrong. Because of compounding, you'd actually be nearly 37 times better. That right there is the magic of atomic habits. Okay, so if compounding 1% gains is the engine, what's the fuel? This leads us to one of the most interesting and honestly counterintuitive ideas in the whole book. If you want amazing results, you have to stop obsessing over your goals and start focusing on your systems. Just think about it for a second. Every single athlete at the Olympics has the same goal: to win a gold medal. Winners and losers have the exact same goal. So the goal itself can't be what makes the difference, right? The British cyclists always wanted to win. What changed wasn't their goal, it was their system for making those continuous, tiny improvements. And this is the critical difference. Goals are about a finish line, a single moment. A system is about the process you follow every day. When you fall in love with the process itself, you don't have to wait for permission to be happy or feel successful. You're building a foundation for permanent change, not just chasing a temporary win. All right, so if systems are the key, how in the world do we build them? Well, Atomic Habits gives us a brilliantly simple and super practical framework: the 4 laws of change. You see, every single habit you have, the good, the bad, all of them, runs on this same 4-step loop. It starts with a cue, which is just a trigger. That cue leads to a craving, a little motivation to change something. That craving leads to a response, which is the actual habit. And finally, you get a reward, which satisfies that craving and basically tells your brain, hey, that felt good, let's do it again. And here is the beautiful part. We can totally engineer this loop to work for us. For each step, there's a simple law. To build a good habit, we just need to make the cue obvious, make the craving attractive, make the response easy, and make the reward satisfying. That's it. These 4 laws are the key to everything. So let's dive in and see how we can actually apply these 4 laws in the real world. The first law, make it obvious, is all about designing your environment for success. And this quote really says it all. You know, the biggest triggers for our habits are often these little visual cues around us that we don't even consciously notice, but they're shaping our behavior every single day. Here's a super simple, perfect example. The author wanted to eat more apples, but he'd buy them and stick them in the crisper drawer in the fridge. You know, out of sight, out of mind. So what did he do? He just put them in a big bowl right in the middle of the counter. They became obvious. And guess what? He started eating apples every day. Simple as that. Okay, law number 2 is make it attractive. This one is about tapping into a weird little quirk of our brains. We are wired to be drawn to exaggerated versions of reality, what scientists call a supernormal stimulus. Just think about junk food. It's literally engineered with more salt, sugar, and fat than anything you'd find in nature, and that's what makes it so hard to resist. And check this out. It's not just a human thing. A scientist noticed that baby seagulls peck at a little red dot on their mom's beak to get food. So, as an experiment, he showed them a stick with 3 huge red dots on it. The baby birds went absolutely crazy for the stick, totally ignoring their actual mother. They preferred the exaggerated version. Our brains aren't all that different. The third law, make it easy, is all about avoiding a really common trap: confusing motion with action. See, motion is when you're planning or learning, like researching the best diet plan. It feels productive, right? But it doesn't actually deliver a result. Action is the behavior that gets you an outcome, like actually eating a healthy meal. That's the only thing that works. So, how do we get ourselves to take action? By using the brilliant 2-minute rule. The idea here is to scale down any new habit so that it takes less than 2 minutes to get started. So, read before bed every night becomes read 1 page. Go for a run becomes put on my running shoes. You make it so ridiculously easy to start that you just can't say no. And that brings us to the final law: make it satisfying. The thing about our brains is that they love immediate rewards, and this story is the perfect example. A stockbroker had a goal to make 120 sales calls a day, so he started with 2 jars, one full of 120 paper clips and one empty. After every single call, he'd move 1 paperclip over. That small, visual, immediate sign of progress was so satisfying that it kept him going, call after call, day after day. And all of this, all these laws and tiny changes, it all leads to the final, and I think the most powerful idea in the entire book. Because the real goal of building habits isn't about what you achieve, it's about who you become. So when it all comes down to it, after the initial excitement wears off, what is it that really keeps us going? What is the ultimate form of human motivation? The answer is identity. The goal isn't to read a book, it's to become a reader. The goal isn't to run a marathon, it's to become a runner. Because when a habit becomes a true part of who you are, the struggle disappears. You're no longer fighting to do something. You're simply being yourself. That is the true power of Atomic Habits.